Hello, everyone. Welcome to another very special episode of Cricket Mehfil. PSL Fever has taken over, and we are talking to one of the PSL greats today. We're very lucky to have with us Mr. Colin Munro from Islamabad United. Colin, how are you doing?
Hey, good. Thanks. Very good. How are you?
Very good, thank you. So you just it's PSL Fever seems to be everywhere right now. Are you seeing it? I know you guys have limited interactions, obviously, with the fans and everything. But what's it like, the mood in the dressing room and the excitement all around regarding PSL?
Yeah, everyone's very excited. I think even the ones that come to the crowd, watch the games, they're very excited. Obviously, we can't get packed houses and stuff, but very energetic, very passionate crowds. And obviously all the fans on social media that we get their posts and stuff from is very exciting as well. So it's great to be back in Pakistan and playing some good cricket.
So Islamabad United this year have Alex Hales, Paul Sterling, Rahmanullah Gurbaz, and yourself. That's some serious firepower. How does this competition motivate you? Because I know you joined a little late, having just been busy winning the BBL.
Yeah, obviously still very motivated. Otherwise, I wouldn't be playing. So every time you come and put on a jersey for especially a franchise you've come to for the last number of years, they've shown faith in getting a number of players back. It's always nice, it doesn't feel like you don't have to come and prove yourself. They know what you can do. I think I'm one of the oldest guys in the squad here, so it's actually quite nice to help the youngsters as well along the way. I haven't played the first couple of games, so still there to add value with our young batters coming through, asking about different scenarios and batting and things. So yeah, we've obviously got a very good batting lineup, very good bowlers, and we've got a really good team. So yeah, looking forward to hopefully as a pretty successful PSL.
Absolutely. Now, Colin, you've been around the world, played a lot of T20 cricket. In recent years, you've been frequently traveling also. What is it for you that differentiates the PSL from the other leagues that you've been a part of? A lot of people say it's the quality of the pace bowling. Would you agree? And how would you rate the overall standard of the league?
Yeah, I think the standard's right up there with the best going around. Obviously, each league has its, pros and cons in terms of India. You've got obviously great local Indian players. You've got great internationals, and people are available for that RPL window. I think the one that really differentiates the PSL to other comps is, like you said, the pace bowling. You've always got young bowlers coming through that you haven't heard of. Might have some funny actions, but that's T20 cricket now, and guys running in and bowling 140, 145, good bounces on good pitches too. A little bit in the evenings, the sheen comes on a little bit and it skids on nicely. So yeah, quality bowlers, and you can see some of the batters that are just go from strength to strength. Guys that are probably in the last couple of years have been in that emerging category that have moved up a little bit now and really found their place in either our franchise or other franchises that are kicking on and playing higher honours.
We talked about the new normal a lot, Colin. You lifted the BBL title just 2-3 days ago, and now you're here in Pakistan, back in another bubble. How have you, as a player, adjusted to all of this over the last couple of years? What are the challenges, and how do you tackle them?
It sucks, to be honest. It takes a lot out of you, mentally, even physically, and the last couple of years have been really tough mentally because you're stuck in four walls all the time. It's not just when you in, say, Pakistan or the BBL or wherever you're playing. It's when you get home. Obviously when you're playing, you can mix and mingle with your teammates. It's awesome. And then going home, we still have to quarantine for 14 days. And there's you're by yourself. Everyone in New Zealand is working at that time during the day, so you can't just get on the phone call and call people. Other people have jobs, so yeah, it is tough mentally because you're just sort of stuck with yourself. It helps if you've had like really good tournament, to be honest, because you leave on a high and you've done well. But in the tournaments where you probably haven't performed as well, you're probably second guessing yourself, and sometimes that can weigh down on you a little bit too. So it's about trying to be positive. I've tried to get into a little bit more just worrying about processes and, trying to get into meditation and reading and trying to keep myself busy, especially on my off days. And I'm still not very good at doing that, but it's just something that I'm trying to work towards. Hopefully, I can do that by the end.
Absolutely. Colin, you've been to Pakistan 2-3 years now to play for United in the PSL. Has there ever been an interest now, having been a regular, to explore Pakistan, not just as a cricketer, but when it's safe to do so? as a tourist? What's your interaction, however limited it may be, with the Pakistani public so far?
Yeah, it's been very restrictive. I think my wife Teray and Shanira Akram are good friends. That they've met when we played when I was with Karachi and we're playing in Dubai. And she's always said, you know, when Pakistan can open up a little bit more and families are allowed, would you be interested in, you know, my wife's a bit of a go-getter and wants to explore. You know, she's explored a bit of India. She wants to explore places where, to be honest, people don't probably think of it being sort of touristy. It's just for cricket, you know, we come here, we don't really think about it. So, yeah, one day it would be nice maybe to put the cricket bags aside and then go and actually see what Pakistan has to offer, because I've heard it's quite pretty in some areas there too.
And have the Pakistanis been talking up the food to you? It's something we do to everybody, you know. Have the guys got you picking out a favorite Pakistani dish so far?
Yeah, I'm more of a sweet person, so the gulam jamun and all those. There's a like a sweet carrot dish too. I think that's really nice.
Gajar halwa, yeah.
Yeah, so that's really nice. And then I don't like to spice too much. So I always ask if it's spicy. I remember at the game last night, I think there was a bit of lamb, curried lamb, and that was too spicy for me. But the boys were saying, no, this is lovely. But yeah, it was a little bit too spicy for me.
Well, if you like your sweets, you're in the right place. Pakistanis have a serious sweet tooth. Colin, who's the most difficult bowler you'd say you faced overall in your career? And the same question then in regards to your time in the PSL. Who would you say are the most difficult bowlers you faced overall and in the PSL?
It's tough to pinpoint just one. I think over my career, I've obviously got better at playing spin, but there's still always, you know, you always wanted to get better at that. So all the wrist spinners and the mystery spinners, because, you know, in New Zealand and even growing up in South Africa, you don't really face a lot of wrist spinners and quality spinners. You probably just get the odd off spinner or the left arm ortho. You don't really get quality leg spin too much growing up. So you don't really face guys that have a wrong end, a flipper, a slider, and all the tricks of the trade. So guys like Imran Tahir, who's been around and he's got better and better even towards the end of his career by developing different balls. Rashid Khan, obviously one of the best bowlers in the world, or if not the best. And guys like Mujib too, just little variations that's subtle, you know, that you don't quite pick on because you're usually just watching the ball coming down and reacting to it. But I think playing T20 cricket around the world has really helped me develop and talk to other bowlers and guys in my team about maybe just reading it a little bit better, even at trainings, you know, just trying to see if there's any subtle differences, even from when they started in their run-up. So, yeah, I think probably the wrist spinners have been pretty tough to face. And you know, I don't mind the pace because I want to enjoy, you know, going at the ball. So yeah, the slower bowlers are probably harder.
Colin, in this day of an age of data and everything, the fact that you know averaged 140 strike rate across your T20 career, how difficult is it to maintain something like that? Because now with it comes the added pressure. Everybody expects Colin Munro to be going at 140 because even a perfectly respectable strike rate like 130, people are suddenly like, oh, Colin's not at his best. So how do you manage something like that? How do you manage to bring the consistency to your game?
It's all down to people, you know, to your expectations. I think when you open the batting, you want to go out there and be aggressive in the power play, and that's when you can generate a strike rate of 140 plus. And then if you back down at number 6 or 7, you can generate that 140 plus because you're going in there from the start and having to hit. I think the times where I really battle is if I'm batting at 4 or 5, making sure which tempo to bat at, you know, when you come in, because sometimes you can come in the power at number 4, you can come in the power play sort of 15 for 2 after 4 or 5 overs, and you got to rebuild, and you're not going to have a strike rate of 140, 150 unless you're there at the end and you can capitalize. But there's other times at number 4 when you can come in the 12th over and the team's going at 10 and you're 120 for 2, and you can generate and keep going. So it's about going through the gears and making sure that I adapt to the conditions and make sure that I'm taking the aggressive options against my matchup. So yeah, it's obviously it's a numbers game, but I'm not too worried about the numbers as much as I am about, you know, like I said before, my process, my plan, and just doing everything right, and then just trying to get out there and enjoy my cricket. You know, I said to somebody this morning at breakfast, I don't think I've got too much longer, another year or two. I think, especially if COVID's still around and it's getting harder and harder to be away from the family. But yeah, I just think for me now it's about enjoying my game. If I look too far ahead and try and think, oh, I've got to, you know, be the highest run scorer in this tournament or whatever, then it takes away from what I'm trying to do now at this present moment. And you know, I think when I'm playing my best cricket, I just worry about each ball as well as I can. And if I can hit that to the boundary, if it gets me out, so it's not the end of the world, as long as I'm trying to stay nice and level-headed and not getting too high and too low when I'm performing or if I'm underperforming.
Colin, what's it like having to adjust from different conditions? You know, in the BBL, we saw you win the title with the Perth Scorchers, score a blistering 100, very different wickets, very different conditions. Now you're over in Pakistan, the wickets will be different. You'll soon be moving to Lahore, where again, it'll be a bit different from Karachi. So how do you make those mental adjustments for young players who are watching and trying to learn? How do you make those mental adjustments from changing from the conditions that would be very different, and then within less than a space of a week, you're here in completely different conditions again?
Yeah, it does. It takes a little bit of time to get used to it, to be honest. Different pace of the wickets. You know, most of the big bash was played on the eastern states and some drop-in wickets. So some were really good at the start, and then when they got a bit tired, it was a little bit lower and slower and took a little bit of spin. So it's just adapting and making sure that, you know, your own expectations go up and down. If you're on a good wicket, that's when your 140, 150 strike rate is achievable and you can go at it. And then sometimes if it's low and slow and it's spinning a little bit, then, you know, 120, 125 strike rate's acceptable. So it's not always about going there and having that expectation of, I need to go at 140, I need to score 50 at 140. It's just about adapting. Sometimes it's being in a partnership on those different conditions. So, and just talking to people that have been in those conditions as well for a long period. So, you know, our local batters, even some of the younger guys, Shaddy, those types of boys that are, you know, where the best options to look against certain bowlers on these wickets. And if you ever have any second doubts, it's still playing to your strengths. So for me, it's looking straight down the ground and then adapting to anything that's thrown at me otherwise. So sticking to your strengths and making sure that you're staying there, because if you go away from your strengths too much or too far, you know, you're always going to play catch up and second guess yourself.
Valuable lesson for any young players watching. Finally, before we let you go, Colin, what's your favorite PSL memory been so far in your time coming to the league? Oh,
there's a couple, but I think for me personally, it was last year. We got 8 out of 10 games. I know we didn't win the title, but we played some exceptional cricket. And then my partnership with Usman Khawaja, when we beat Quetta by 10 wickets in 10 overs, I thought that was pretty special. It wasn't like we went out there to try and do it in 10 overs, and it just happened. So there was that, and obviously batting with Luke Ronke, a good friend of mine that we play a lot of cricket with back home, and had a couple of seasons. Yeah, he's obviously an Islamabad legend, PSL legend, the way he's been playing, the way he played over here. He probably could still come and play on probably one leg and still score runs. Yeah, he's that good in these conditions. So yeah, there's plenty. Obviously, last night was Shaddy getting 90 odd there, watching him bat there and get better and better as a batsman. It's pretty scary what he can achieve with the bat. So there's a lot, but you know, if it comes down to it, anytime we're winning our games of cricket and enjoying each other's company, that's probably the biggest thing.
And finally, Colin, we know that Islamabad United have very passionate fans. They all love you. They love the team. They really relate with the franchise and everything. So what's your message to them? Because like you said, last time around, you guys had a spectacular season. Just one bad game shouldn't define how well you have played. And Islamabad are 2-time champions and the most successful team in the history of the PSL. So what's your message for the fans?
Stick with us through the highs and the lows. You know, we play some good, entertaining cricket, so there are going to be times where we probably don't live up to your expectations, but you know, keep those messages of support coming. We really appreciate it. You know, we wouldn't be where we are without the fans. That's, you know, they're the ones that really keep us going. You know, the Islamabad fans are really passionate. You know, you can read the comments on social media, and you know, when we win, they're up. When we lose, they're a little bit angry, which is what keeps us trying to, you know, get better and better and try and eliminate those losses. So keep the words of encouragement up. We really enjoy it, and hopefully we can go one better this year.
Absolutely. Colin, thank you so much for your time. I hope the rest of the PSL is filled with success and lots of gulab jamuns and gajar halwa for you. Thank you so much for taking the time out today.
Cheers. Thanks for having me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Colin. Take care.
Cheers.